ratio is nothing but two numbers divided together. So when we talk about ratio, we are actually talking about two numbers being divided together. For example, if I say the ratio of A to B, that means A is being divided by B. A divided by B. Now it is written as A, this symbol is called is to B. So when we talk about ratio, we are talking about A is to B. Now ratio also means portion. For example, if you want to break something down, if you have around $100 and you want to break it down into 5 portions, you can say it is broken down into 2:5, or 5 portions actually means 2:3. So if you add up the portion, the 2 portion and the 3 portion together makes 5 portions. Now we don't know what the portion are, but we can say this thing, 2 portions, means 2 portions out of 5. So if you want to find out what is the value of this portion, it means 2 by 5 out of 100. That would give us, if we break this down, 100 divided by 5 is 5 2s are 10, and we have 0, so 2 2s are 4, this is 40. So $40. So if you break down $100 into 2:3, it means the total portions are 5 portions and you're wanting 2 out of 5, and that is going to be $40. Now if you want the value of the other one, now this is going to be 3 out of 5. That means the portion that you're getting, obviously this is more portion, so 3 out of 5, and you want this to be broken, and this is the value for the other portion. And if you cut this, it is going to be 20 again, and this is going to be 60. That means one of the person is going to get $40 and the other person is going to get around $60. So I've broken down 100 into 2 portions. Now the concept of ratio is like that. You are breaking down a value into various portions. So if we get some sort of a generic terms what the value would be, we can then say that if we have a value like x is to y is to, let me put another value, z or z, x is to y is to z, and we have a total value, some value, then we are going to divide it along the portions. That means x portion, y portion, z portion, and if we add it up, that's the total portion, and every single portion is getting something out of the others. So the value for x is going to be, the value of that portion is going to be x portion divided by the total portion, which is going to be x plus y plus z into the total. Similarly, the value for y portion, this value is going to be y divided by the total portions, so x plus y plus z into total. So we are going to get the value as well. And finally the last portion is going to be z divided by x plus y plus z into the total. So that's the idea. So an example for this is going to be, suppose you want to break down around something in the ratio of 1:2:3. So altogether there are around 6 portions. Suppose you want to break down $600. Okay, so $600 now has to be distributed among 3 people. One person is getting out of the total portion 3 plus 2 plus 6 is 6 portions altogether. So the first person is getting 1 portion out of 6 portions, so 1/6 of the total value, which is 600. So the value that this person is going to get, let me call him John, is going to be, if we cancel this off, is going to be 100 into 1 is $100. Now the next person who is getting two portions, that value in dollar is going to be 2 divided by all the portions added together, 6 into the total value 600. If we cancel this off, it's going to be 100. So 2 into 100 is going to be $200. And the third portion, we can actually find it out by subtracting the other two portions, 100 plus 200, which is $300. If we subtract $600 minus $300, we'll get $300. So this guy is going to get around $300. It's very easy to figure out. So whenever we are talking about a ratio, we are talking about a certain portion, and we are talking about one number being divided by another number. So this is actually division. So we are actually dividing one number with another number. That's what we are doing. Now usually the sums regarding ratio is they use certain terms like 1/4, 2/5, 3/4 and so on. What does that mean? So for example, half means 1:2, which means 1 divided by 2, which also means 0.5. Ratio can be expressed as a fraction and also as a decimal. So if someone says someone is getting half of something, so we always multiply. So if someone gets around half of $100, so that is going to be, so the value is going to be 1/2 into $100, and that is obviously going to be 50. Now we have something like a quarter. So if we get a quarter, which is 1:4, a portion of a fourth, it is also called 1/4. That means 1/4 in decimal, it can be considered as 0.25. So all you have to do if you want to find a quarter, so quarter of $100, so that's going to be 1/4 into 100, which is going to be $25. 1/4 of $100 is $25. So that's how the sums are done. So in basic ideas, these little vocabularies can help us. A quarter, then we have a 3/4, 1/5, 1/10. 1/10 is 1/10, 1/5 is 1/5, and so on. Now one sum that we can see is something that is with algebra. You might get a sum like this. This is a bit irregular. For example, if someone tells you about some ratio is given, A:2B is 3:4, this information is given, and B:C is 1:5. These two ratios are given, and they're asking you to find A:2B:C. Now how to do that? First of all, let us write it as a division form in the arithmetic version, the old-fashioned form, if I say so. So this is going to be 3/4, and this is going to be B/C is going to be 1 divided by 5. So 1:5 is 1 divided by 5. Now to get A:2B:C, we have to form some sort of a bridge between these two B's. If we get a bridge, then we can write A:2B:C. In order to do that, we have to make this number and this number the same. So we can multiply this with 4. Then these two would be same. This would be 4. 1 into 4 is 4. But we cannot just multiply something by 4, because now this is, instead of 1:5, this would be 1 into 4 is 4. 4:5. We cannot just change it. So we have to multiply downstairs with that 4 as well. Now it becomes 4:20, which is ultimately 1:5. Makes no difference if you divide it out. If you simplify, it is the same. So now we can write A by B is 4, and now again this B is also 4. So this 4 and this 4 is bridged together. So this is 3, this is 4, and we have 20. So we can say A:2B:C is 3:4:20. Now if we wanted to, we could have simplified these 3, but these 3 things cannot be simplified. let me show you how to simplify ratios when there are three ratios here. If we have in another example, let me do another example here. In another example, if we have around 10 is to 24 is to 30. Now the first thing that we have to check whether they have the same unit. If they did not have the same unit, we cannot do the sum because the portions are not comparable. We have to be able to compare the portions. It has to be like centimeter, 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 hour, 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 or day, day, day. All the three units has to be compared. So here assume all the three units are same. They are not different like hour, day, week. In that case we cannot do anything. So the first thing we have to do, divide the three things by the same number if it is possible to divide. Here we see that 10 can be divided by 5, 24 cannot be divided by 5, but 30 can be divided by 5. So we cannot divide this by 5. In the next one, if we think about 3, 10 cannot be divided by 3, 24 can be divided by 3, and 30 can be divided by 3. So 3 is also out of the question. It seems we can divide this by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, is 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12, is 2, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. Now we don't have any other number that goes for all these three. So the simplified version of this three ratios is 5 is to 12 is to 15. So this is how we simplify something. Remember, the first step is the unit has to be the same. The conversion, the unit has to be the same. So step 1, you have to remember the unit must be same. So that's the first step, and the second step is they should be divided by the same number for all three. So that's the idea of ratios. Whenever we are talking about ratios, we are talking about two numbers being divided together, and whenever that happens we can express this as something is to something, and that is ratio, a very important concept.